Mark Harmon is an American actor and filmmaker who hails from the United States. Among his many accomplishments, he is most known for his role as Leroy Jethro Gibbs on the highly acclaimed television series NCIS, which is broadcast on CBS. In spite of the fact that Gibbs is tied to a family story that is very distressing, the NCIS agent is oblivious to this fact. It has come to our attention that there is a facet of Mark Harmon's life that is completely unlike what we have always been told about him by the media representatives. The one that is linked with law and order is somebody named Mark Harmon. This journey is one of a kind because of the difficult life that his sister, Kristen Nelson, has had up to this point in time. When contrasted with the glitz and glitter that is often connected with their family name, her life is the complete opposite of what is typically associated with that. An intricate web of love, devotion, and the battle to survive starts to take form as their lives begin to connect and diverge from one another. Mark Harmon. From football to NCIS, Thomas Mark Harmon came into this world on September 2, 1951. His career started in sports. However, you may know him from his role as Leroy Jethro Gibbs on NCIS. Athletes like Harmon were around long before they were famous on television. Harmon came from a family of 3 and spent his childhood in Burbank, California. He was born to Tom Harmon, a legendary football commentator and Heisman Trophy winner, and Elise Knox, an actress, model, and artist. Actress and painter Kristen Nelson and model and actress Kelly Harmon are Harmon's older sisters. Harmon felt a pull toward acting after first contemplating professions like advertising or law. He moved from his original role as a merchandising director to that of an actor quite quickly. Guest appearances on Adam 12, Policewoman, and Emergency were among his early acting credits. Interestingly, he and his father were the subjects of a serial advertisement that aired on national television before he ever appeared in a sports-related program. In the middle of the 1970s, he began to win more acting gigs, one of which was a supporting role in a secret pilot involving the animal control officers of Los Angeles County. Even though the show didn't go well, producer Jack Webb cast him in a series about a dog and an LAPD cop named Sam. For his role as Robert Dunlap in the television movie Eleanor and Franklin, The White House Years, he was nominated for an Emmy. Saint, Elsewhere's pioneering narrative, in which Mark Harmon's character caught HIV and died of AIDS, was unprecedented for its day, and he joined the cast in 1983 as Dr. Robert Caldwell. Harmon also became a frequent face in the beer advertising for Coors around this time. TV movies like Prince of Bel-Air, co-starring Kirstie Alley, and The Deliberate Stranger, featuring Harmon as serial murderer Ted Bundy, catapulted Harmon's career to new heights. Reuniting with Alley and Patrick LaBiato in summer school, he proceeded to make a mark with appearances in films like Let's Get Harry. Harmon appeared in the 1987 TV movie After the Promise and had a special appearance on Moonlighting, marking her comeback to television, along with The Presidio, in which he co-starred with Sean Connery and Meg Ryan. He was also in Stealing Home, which starred Jodie Foster. In 2002, Harmon achieved yet another watershed moment when he earned an Emmy nomination for his portrayal of Secret Service agent Simon Donovan on The West Wing, which spanned 4 episodes. Donald P. Bellisario, the man behind JAG and NCIS, was smitten with this part. Harmon quickly became a mainstay on NCIS after appearing as NCIS agent Leroy Jethro Gibbs on JAG in a guest spot that aired in September 2003. Mark Harmon became famous as Leroy Jethro Gibbs, and he won the People's Choice Award for Favorite TV Crime Drama Actor in 2017. He was nominated 6 times. While serving as executive producer, he re-established relationships with Jane Brooke, Rocky Carroll, and Lauren Holly, all of whom he had worked with on Chicago Hope. Despite Gibbs's retirement from NCIS in the 19th season's 4th episode, his impact is still felt throughout the show. This star, number 2480, was bestowed to Harmon on October 1, 2012, by the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He established Wings Productions in 2014, which was responsible for NCIS New Orleans. In 2018, he started working on a CBS series adapted from John Sanford's best-selling book, Prey, which has sold more than 30 million copies globally. Harmon wed actress Pam Dauber on March 21, 1987. To the intimate side of things. Their son Sean played a young Gibbs in several episodes of NCIS. They have 2 other boys. The family stays out of the spotlight and maintains a quiet profile. Harmon is related to many famous people. Tracy Nelson, an actress, Ricky Nelson, a musician, John DeLorean, an actor, and Matthew and Gunnar Nelson, 2 members of the band Nelson. The real reason why Mark Harmon left NCIS. Many fans were caught unawares when Mark Harmon abruptly left NCIS at the conclusion of the 19th season. Gibbs was an integral part of the program for all 21 seasons, and he was famous for his unique blend of realism and compassion. After Harmon's departure, fans wondered why he wanted out of a job that had such a profound impact on his career and how the show would go without him. The first 4 episodes of season 19 had an enthralling plot. A larger plot involving Sonova Industries was uncovered by Gibbs when he was immersed in a high-stakes investigation into serial murderer Paul Lemire. Gibbs was on the run from his own team as he sought justice off the grid. Agent Timothy McGee was his only ally. Gibbs opted to step down as a federal agent, turning down director Leon Vance's offer to repair his image, even if the case was finally solved in great wide open. His heartfelt farewell to colleagues like Vance and Donald Ducky Mallard signaled the end of his time with the NCIS team, and he then went fishing in Alaska for some much-needed solitude. With the introduction of new characters and storylines that honor its iconic lead, NCIS has continued to thrive even after Gibbs's retirement. Despite rumors that Mark Harmon's resignation was related to the scandal that surrounded Paulie Peretz, the 2 actors' departures were amicable. Harmon has been subtly cutting down on his screen time, which might indicate a change in direction for his career. He decided to move on from his position after 20 years because he was ready for a change. Harmon thought about Gibbs's tale and how it had come to a logical end in the season 19 DVD commentary. For him, it was crucial to maintain a part interesting and demanding, and Gibbs's odyssey had reached a suitable conclusion. A major chapter for NCIS came to a conclusion with Mark's departure, signaling a change in the show's dynamic and allowing for fresh narrative opportunities. Even though Harmon's departure created a void, the show's designers saw it as an opportunity to expand the NCIS world and explore new storylines. Harmon said that Gibbs is not retired and resides in Alaska, so fans are still holding out hope for his comeback. Even though Gibbs was noticeably absent from the episode, Michael Weatherly's recent debut as Anthony Donoso in season 21 added fire to this hope. An interview with TV Line with co-showrunner Stephen D. Binder revealed that schedule and financial restrictions make it difficult to bring back Gibbs and other characters. Binder reiterated that Gibbs' return would be for a significant and unique plot point, promising that the door will always remain open. There will be no 2-minute delay when we return him. There must be something exceptional about it. Mark Nelson's sister. Kristen Nelson. A life and career summary. Both Mark Harmon and his elder sister Kristen Nelson were well-known figures in the public eye. Kristen was up in a Hollywood glitz and glitter with creative skill and dogged perseverance. She was born into a famous family. Kristen was surrounded by the spotlight from an early age forward as one of 3 famous siblings, along with Mia Farrow and other famous people's children. She was a student at Bel Air's Marymount High School. Kristen became a series regular after making her acting debut in a cameo spot on Ozzie and Harriet. Playing a young bride opposite Rick Nelson in the 1965 picture Love and Kisses was a career-defining role for her, and the critical acclaim was unanimous. In addition to her acting credits, Kristen demonstrated her flexibility with cameos in Adam 12, a TV drama, and the Academy Award-winning short film The Resurrection of Bronco Billy. Kristen, however, decided to abandon acting in 1982 after her appearance in Liar's Moon to concentrate on her newfound love of painting. At the age of 17, Kristen discovered her passion for painting, and she soon became well known in the art community. She began her fruitful career as an artist with her 1967 first solo show. She achieved worldwide fame in the 1970s, when her paintings were selling for as much as $5,000 each, and were often compared to Grandma Moses's. Her colorful, non-representational paintings drew admirers such as Mia Farrow, Jacqueline Kennedy, and Dwight Yoakam. Her fame skyrocketed when the Kennedys bought her artwork for the White House. Her vibrant, emotionally charged paintings were like seeing through a kaleidoscope of life's situations. Works such as When the Kennedys Were in the White House and The Day He Died, a touching homage to her father, illustrated her unique viewpoint on life. Out of My Mind, a coffee table book she released in 1999, was a window into her spirit that combined her artwork with poetry and journal entries. I Want to Paint was Kristen's straightforward and meaningful response to producer Mark Tinker's 1998 question about her future intentions. Kristen Nelson's personal life. The lavish Los Angeles Catholic Church of St. Martin of Tours was the site of Kristen and Rick Nelson's wedding vow exchange on April 20, 1963. With a hint of humor, Rick called their wedding a shotgun wedding, since Kristen was pregnant at the tender age of 17. Rick, who had strayed from Protestantism, had finished his Catholic education before the marriage, and promised to bring their future children up in a Catholic household. Despite having 4 children together, the couple's relationship was troubled by Rick's rock star lifestyle and relentless traveling. Their marriage was already in trouble by 1975. After becoming tired of Rick's repeated travels, Kristen moved him to a rented house in 1977. The situation became much more heated when, less than a month after that, Kristen found Rick in the leased house with 2 cheerleaders from the Los Angeles Rams, adding fuel to the fire. Rick used their problems to his advantage in court, as Kristen would later disclose. They welcomed 3 sons, Gunnar, Matthew, and Sam, into the world, but their once perfect marriage started to fall apart. Kristen tried her hardest to save their relationship, going so far as to travel with Rick and fully embrace his rock and roll lifestyle. But she did concede that their way of life was severely harming one another. They sought therapy jointly when their marital struggles with drug misuse became too much to bear. Kristen was left to confront their difficulties alone when Rick suddenly stopped treating them. Many in Kristen's family were skeptical when she confided in them about their problems. She finally snapped and sought a divorce in October 1977, requesting child custody, alimony, and a portion of their assets. Their reconciliation was brief, although it did include the April 1980 purchase of Errol Flynn's Mulholland Drive property for $750,000. Disagreements resurfaced as a result of Rick's persistence in continuing to tour rather than focusing on acting. The second divorce Kristen filed for in October 1980 resulted in interim child custody and spousal support payments. Kristen and Rick engaged in a heated court dispute thereafter, with each party accusing the other of drug misuse and child mistreatment. The courts first granted Rick interim custody of the children and ordered him to pay $3,600 a month in spousal support, despite their turbulent relationship. Rick, despite his financial hardship, felt bound to pay family bills, and Kristen accused him of being dishonest about their finances. The accusations they leveled against one another portrayed them as dysfunctional parents battling addiction. Rick went bankrupt after the divorce was completed in December 1982 due to legal bills surpassing $1 million. Kristen's battles with addiction had a detrimental effect on her professional life. After she realized she couldn't make ends meet as an artist, she shifted her focus to casting and directing, all the while fighting an addiction that was made worse by her participation in drug trafficking. The youngest kid of Kristen was eventually put with relatives. Before their parents stepped in, Sam was cared for 18 months by her sister Kelly. In the end, Mark and Pam took it upon themselves to care for Sam. Tragically, something happened on December 31, 1985, after they divorced. In an aircraft catastrophe, Rick Nelson, his 27-year-old fiancée, Helen Blair, and 5 members of the crew all died. Unknown factors caused the plane to crash while it was heading to Dallas's Love Field. Some have speculated that a fire started in the cockpit would have been the ignition source for the disaster, among other possibilities. Nelson tested positive for drugs, leading federal investigators to believe that drug use on board may have had a role in the incident. A fire broke out in the passenger compartment, which led the remaining captain and co-pilot to try an emergency landing, according to their report. Notwithstanding these assertions, the blood samples of the two pilots did not reveal the presence of any drugs or alcohol. Drugs were not determined to be the cause of the fire by the National Transportation Safety Board after thorough examinations. Kristen's issues over custody and relationship with Sam. Mark Harmon became involved to help his sister Kristen through a tough period after the terrible loss of Rick Nelson. Since no one else could persuade her, he took it upon himself to get her to check into a rehabilitation center. After Kristen finished recovery in 1987, she encountered yet another major obstacle, a fierce custody dispute over her son, Sam. A fight broke out in Mark's family as a result of his disagreement with Pam and Kristen. Kristen was ordered to remain 200 yards away from Mark, his family, and her kid as a restraining order was issued by the court. Mark was also granted interim custody. Mark Harmon and Kristen Nelson's custody fight was a contentious and tense one. Mark chose to end the legal procedures in the end. "Too much blood has been spilled," he told Kristen's lawyer, expressing his desire to put a stop to the custody battle. With Mark's visiting rights granted, the couple also decided to see a family therapist for support throughout the change and to get to the bottom of any problems. Kristen, who had just finished a drug recovery facility, told reporters with pleasure, "Sam's coming home." In June 1987, she wished that the family would start family therapy and put in their best effort to come back to being happy. The dispute between Kristen, Mark, and Sam's wife, Pam Dauber, was resolved when Sam consented to return to his mother's care. Mark was now free to pay Sam a visit, according to the revised agreement. Mark and Pam had taken Sam in after Kristen checked into rehab for her prescription drug addiction. While waiting to be released from a Century City hospital, Nelson allegedly got information that Sam no longer wanted to live with her and that Harmon and Dauber sought custody. According to Harmon's lawyer, Lawrence M. Stone's opening speech, Sam was aware that his mother was a drug user. Because of his parents' bitter divorce when Sam was a little boy, and his father's death in an airplane crash in 1985, he had a wild childhood, according to him. The testimony of Dauber on Sam's dread of going home was presented in court at the custody hearing for Kristen Nelson. According to her, Sam's mother's irrational conduct, which includes yelling and foul language, has scared him. According to Dauber, Sam had confided in his doctor, Gary Chase, about his problems, explaining that his mother's drug-induced mood swings were the root cause of their frequent and heated disputes. Kristen exhibited a wide range of emotions and behaviors, including elation, lethargy, unreasonable wrath, and agitation, as mentioned by Dauber. Under Nelson's lawyer Carl Osborne's cross-examination, Dauber admitted that in an ideal world, children should live with their original parents. She was ashamed to acknowledge that before requesting custody, she had not checked Kristen's mental or physical health. In her testimony, Dauber confirmed that she was carrying out Sam's intentions when she said, "His goal seems reasonable to me." This meant that Sam did not want to go home. Judge Ronald E. Swearinger summed up the scenario by saying that Sam was blaming his mother for his problems and was having a hard time coping with his father's absence. Osborne rejected the settlement as an unconditional surrender. Sam Nelson, From Personal Growth to Reviving Family Legacy. In the wake of Sam Nelson's graduation from Boston College with a degree in psychology, his life followed a different path, which ultimately resulted in a revitalized relationship with his mother, Kristen. In an interview that took place in 2016, he pondered on their relationship and made the observation that as you grow older, things that were once significant are no longer relevant. These problems are no longer problems. Either you are able to dominate them or you are not. Nevertheless, your primary objective is to. During the conversation that took place in New Mexico, Sam also expressed his affection for Kristen, complementing her creative abilities and the many ideas that they shared with one another. He emphasized the robustness and vitality of their connection, pointing out that it had grown stronger in spite of the fact that they had been apart in the past. Sam praised the one-of-a-kind connection that they had and emphasized how, over the course of time, they had developed a relationship that was both meaningful and supportive. During his professional life, he embraced the musical tradition that his family had left behind. He became the main singer and songwriter for the band H's Orange, which he joined after completing an internship at MCA Records. The innovative contributions that he made to the band were a clear indication of his enthusiasm for music. Sam tackled the challenging endeavor of resurrecting the adventures of Ozzie and Harriet for contemporary audiences. He was motivated to do so by the need to respect the heritage that his family had left behind. For the past 12 years of my life, I have dedicated myself to restoring and safeguarding the television show that my family has been producing, he said. His passion to this project was acknowledged with a nomination for a Saturn Award, which reflects the amount of effort and attention he has put into it. With the goal of bringing the much-loved classic back to television and preserving a treasured part of his family's history, Sam started a Kickstarter campaign in order to raise money for this quest. Kristen Nelson's death. The actress Kristen Nelson, who was known for her role in Love and Kisses, passed away on December 10, 2018, leaving the world with a genuinely one-of-a-kind soul without her. Reportedly suffering from a heart attack, Kristen passed away on April 27th at the age of 72, according to her daughter Tracy, who made the announcement. On May 1st, Tracy broke the news to her friends and family over Facebook, describing the passing of her mother as sudden and unexpected. Additionally, she disclosed that Kristen had been battling a lung illness for the previous year, which had resulted in her being placed in a coma for a period of time. In her homage, Tracy created a colorful celebration of the lively personality that her mother had. Tracy noted that nobody could turn a house upside down quite like she could, showing Kristen's ability to transform turmoil into magic. Nobody could turn a house upside down quite. She described her mother as the personification of coolness, stating, she wasn't just someone who knew the cool people. She recalled her mother with fondness. She was a really cool individual. She was the life of the party. She was constantly aware of where the action was taking place. As part of her poignant tribute, Tracy remembered Kristen's extraordinary ability to brighten up whatever room she visited. Even though Kristen was not the kind of person to vocally show her affection for others, the way she behaved spoke volumes and left a deep and long-lasting impression on everyone who knew her. Tracy Nelson's personal life and challenges. Having spent his childhood in the lively streets of Santa Monica, California, Tracy Nelson has launched on a fantastic adventure through life as well as the entertainment business. After completing her education at the Buckley School and Westlake School for Girls, which is now known as Harvard Westlake School, Tracy went on to pursue her interest in the arts at Bard College, which is located in the state of New York's upstate region. There, she majored in dance and European history. Tracy's acting career started when she was just 4 years old when she appeared in the film Yours, Mine, and Ours, which was released in 1968 and also starred Lucille Ball and Henry Fonda. Also appearing in the movie was Tom Bosley, who would go on to become her co-star in the future. In addition to her career as an actress, Tracy was a dedicated ballet dancer who had been trained by Tanya Lachine for 17 years. She was a little kid when she went on tour with the dancing group in California, where she performed on stage and displayed her abilities. After graduating from high school, Tracy pursued a career in theater, during which she received instruction from renowned instructors Kim Stanley and Nina Fudge and participated in the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in the United Kingdom. It was in 1982 that she made her debut on television, playing the character of Valley Girl Jennifer DiNuccio in the show Square Pegs. Tracy's performance as the anorexic daughter in Paul Mazursky's Down and Out in Beverly Hills, which was released in 1986, left a significant effect on viewers. After that, she went on to play the role of Sister Stephanie in the well-known television series The Father Dowling Mysteries. She also had appearances in programs such as The Man from Snowy River, A League of Their Own, and Glitter, demonstrating her flexibility and endearing personality. During the course of the 1990s, Tracy Nelson established herself as a well-known figure in the world of television. She made appearances in a number of well-known programs, including Seinfeld, Family Tie, Murphy Brown, The Nanny, Seventh Heaven, Melrose Place, Will and Grace, Matlock, and Diagnosis Murder. Additionally, her theatrical abilities shined brilliantly, notably when she went on to play the role of Rizzo in Grease, both on Broadway and with the touring company in the year 1995. Over the course of her varied career, she appeared in over 20 television programs and a large number of stage shows, including The Perfect Husband, The Perfect Nanny, Kate's Secret, The Fight for Jesse, and The Rival in 2006. Tracy also tried her hand at writing, penning a movie about her family called The Nelsons, and publishing a book about her own life experiences. Both of these endeavors were successful. Tracy's private life was full of both highs and lows at various points in time. In 1987, she tied the knot with the actor William R. Moses, and the pair went on to have a daughter before finalizing their divorce in 1997. A boy named Elijah Nelson Clark was born to her and her husband Chris Clark in the year 2001. In addition, Tracy's path was characterized by the extraordinary fight she fought against cancer. Tracy had intensive treatment at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles, which included radiation therapy, chemotherapy, and surgery. She was diagnosed with stage 2 Hodgkin's lymphoma soon after her marriage to Moses, and a year after the horrific aircraft disaster that occurred with her father. In 2005, she was diagnosed with thyroid cancer, and in 2010, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, both of which were connected to radiation damage. She went into remission. However, she emerged triumphant after undergoing a bilateral mastectomy and significant surgery, displaying an extraordinary amount of courage and fortitude. Her experiences motivated her to campaign for cancer research, and she eventually became a spokesman for the Lymphoma Research Foundation of America on behalf of the organization. Tracy was honored with the Jill Ireland Award and the Lifesaver Award from the Amy Caron Cancer Fund for Children, which served to celebrate her as a symbol of hope and persistence. Both awards were presented in recognition of Tracy's important achievements. Gunnar and Matthew Nelson. At the beginning of the 1990s, the twin boys of Rick and Kristen Nelson, Matthew and Gunnar Nelson, achieved popularity as the driving forces behind the rock band Nelson. As a result of the success of the track Can't Live Without Your Love and Affection, which was included on their first album, After the Rain, they quickly rose to prominence. However, difficulties presented themselves with their record company, Geffen Records, as well as the advent of grunge music, which ultimately resulted in their departure from the label in the year 1995. The brothers did not let this prevent them from continuing to create music via their own record company, Stone Canyon Records. They also paid respect to their father's legacy by creating the Ricky Nelson Remembered Tribute album. Their musical accomplishments have won them a spot in the Guinness Book of World Records as the first family to have #1 singles spanning 3 successive generations, starting with their grandparents, Ozzie and Harriet Nelson. This distinguished them as the only family to have achieved this record.